Welcome back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are going to be talking about many different things going on in the world. I'm Dakota. This is my co-host, Ryder.
Hello. A lot is going on in the world right now, and we're going to get into that right now.
Yes. We're trying to do a more news focused podcast.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, we're struggling with the introduction. We may have done it four or five times.
No, we did it. We did it once. Yeah.
We did it one take, and you didn't see the rest of it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't even know about this part.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are going to be talking about the U.S. economy dives just 3 months into Trump's term. It's very volatile right now, and things are very uncertain. We're going to be talking about all of that with the tariffs, with fucking, is he going to fire Jerome Powell? It looks like he's not.
Yeah,
he said he was
not,
before.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
He's a demented old man. He doesn't know what he's fucking
What the
saying.
hell's going on? JD Vance killed the Pope, allegedly. JD Vance is the Antichrist, and he killed the Pope.
There's a lot going on.
Ryder's got a bunch of stuff about tariffs and the
bond market.
The bond market, the stock market, the U.S. dollar getting weaker.
And then
a bunch of nerd shit.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Go down.
Yeah.
Go down. Oh, okay, good. Okay, yeah, I got it.
And the government is going to start taking your refunded.
Oh shit! I did.
Fuck.
Hold on. Just you know what I was gonna say.
Ryder's headline is not really.
Yeah. It's missing a word.
Basically, the government is going to start garnishing your wages for your student loan debt. So we're gonna talk about that. Stocks are going crazy. Stock market's actually surging today when we're filming this.
Yeah,
because
actually,
Donald Trump says he's not going to fire Jerome Powell. I can look up.
Oh yeah, just look up like Yahoo Finance.
I was going to look up the S&P and just look at the graph of that.
Oh yeah.
Today it is up 2%.
Do the 5 day. Yeah, it's up like crazy, dude.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, everything is up. Oh, sorry. Everything is up right now. Like
stock. Look at this. Like the S&P 500 shouldn't look like this.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? It shouldn't go way down. And
wait, when was it like up the last time before it like kind of went on a rocky ride? Like what was the last time it was like? It was like April 17th.
Yeah, and if you look at the month, it's
the
down.
monthlies.
And if you look at the 6 month, it's still significantly down. So when Trump went into office around here, and since then it was pretty level, and then it started to.
Look at the year to date.
The year to date.
Yeah. That'll tell you.
Significantly down.
8%.
I saw someone on Instagram. It was like over her on Wall Street or whatever.
Yeah, I love that page.
It was like Trump got me so fucked up. I looking at the 10-year before going to bed of the S&P 500. It's like because over 10 years it's up.
Yeah.
But over the past month, over the past 6 months, over the past year, it's still down and it's not looking very good. But yeah,
a bunch of nerd shit I got.
Nerd shit we're gonna be talking about today, but we're also gonna be talking about some other things. Donald Trump has continued to erode due process. Is Abrego Garcia a wife-beating criminal, rapist, murderer, or is he just a fucking Maryland father? What the hell's going on?
Didn't what was it, CBS say that or some shit?
Yeah,
I swear CBS is always like they're good for a while and then they'll say some off-putting shit.
Yeah, so I mean, the Republicans have been running with this narrative of him being a wife beater because his wife, Abrego Garcia, which if you guys don't know, Abrego Garcia is the man, one of the hundreds of immigrants who the Donald Trump administration invoked the Alien Enemies Act, which is supposed to be an act that we use in times of war, but he, according to some judges, illegally invoked this act to deport hundreds of migrants without due process to a foreign borderline concentration camp in El Salvador, which is notorious for human rights abuses. And I mean, we'll show some of the pictures of that maybe later of the El Salvador prison, but it is really fucking disturbing shit. They're all in their boxers, handcuffed, touching in a big cube. And the thing is also these people are, I'm pretty sure, imprisoned for life, and
they're not. They're never
hundreds of people have died in there. And it's just a horrible environment, and the only reason to send them to this foreign prison is to evade their constitutional rights.
Dude, we're paying El Salvador
to keep
the government $8 million.
And when Donald Trump originally invoked this act, he ignored a judge's oral order saying to turn the plane around, and he said, nope, too late, and I didn't have it in writing. Then he did it anyways, and then when the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that they had to facilitate Abrego Garcia's return because, as the Trump administration admitted, they said, we have, due to an administrative error, Abrego Garcia was deported to an El Salvador prison. And so the Supreme Court said that they had to bring him back, or they said they had to facilitate
Yeah,
they like
facilitate.
that word facilitate. They grabbed onto that word
Yeah.
and they said, well, facilitate doesn't mean that we have to do it. It means we have to set it up so that they could do it.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump was like, yeah, we're not doing that shit. That's just gay.
That's woke and gay.
He met up with the El Salvadoran dictator Bukele and in the White House. And
Bukele
they
is crazy.
They literally fucking asked him. They were like, "Hey, are you gonna bring back the guy that we said you're supposed to bring back?" And
He's like, no.
Trump was like, "That's up to Bukele. I don't know what he's gonna say. He's a fucking terrorist. He's basically called Obrego Garcia an MS-13 gang member and a terrorist." And then Obrego Garcia was like, and then Bukele was like, well, he's a terrorist. Do you want me to smuggle a terrorist into your country? It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Dude. And anyways, all that's to say that, where was I going with that? Oh, what was I talking about recently that happened with this? We were talking, what the fuck? I just lost my train of thought because I was recapping on everything.
Oh, wait, there's something to add.
Oh. Yeah, no, go ahead.
So I just sent you something on your phone, but if you can pull it up from your computer.
texted it to me?
Yeah, I texted it to you actually. So there's this like Avon airline, which is like a really cheap airline. I saw that they're facilitating the ICE flights. So they got a contract from ICE
Okay, I
to like fly them. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting.
But I think the thing that I was saying was that Donald Trump is eroding due process.
Yeah.
Due
Oh,
process.
yeah. That's what you said.
The whole point of this is to erode the due process because the entire idea behind invoking the Alien Enemies Act is to overturn the due process that these people are supposed to have.
Yeah.
Send them out faster, and Donald Trump is just ignoring the court's orders when they tell him not to do those things. But I thought I had something that I was tying that back to with something going on right now, but I don't know. I actually had a couple. Maybe I'll talk about my like debates that I had.
Oh yeah,
and then we'll get into your nerdy shit.
yeah.
No, you're like stuff on the economy and all that.
Yeah, the economy stuff is very interesting. I actually learned something, especially about the bonds
Sweet.
piece, which is very interesting that I
Excited
didn't
to
know
hear it.
before. So yeah, buckle up, guys. You're gonna learn
forward to that.
You're gonna learn about the U.S. economy.
We're gonna do 40 minutes on the bond market.
Yeah, maybe 30.
No, but no. So I had my first argument. Well, not my first argument.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I won't say who with because they're
Yeah.
kind of public personas a little bit. But yeah. So some of my friends that I talk to on a regular basis are one of them is voted for Trump. The other one is he didn't vote for Trump. He's not even voting age, but he's very Christian and seemingly leans that way a little bit, but not to just extreme degree. Anyways, and the other one is not living in this country, but he likes to send things to the group chat with the other guys about stuff going on in America and then kind of comment on it, and then I always have to be like, yeah dude, it's fucking crazy, like this is scary shit. And so I was talking to the one guy who didn't vote for Trump, who's not fully a Republican person, I wouldn't say, but I was talking to them about like, whether or not the Trump administration is a full-on dictatorship, and we were kind of going back and forth on that, not necessarily arguing, but just kind of like talking about it. And then the other guy who is a Trump voter came in and was like, what is going on? And we started talking, and then I started kind of, arguing, debating, whatever you want to call it, with him about specifically the Abrego Garcia stuff. And it was kind of eye-opening to me a little bit. It kind of worried the shit out of me. I was kind of like mentally unwell from it, to be honest with you, because like, it's not that I wasn't doing, I wasn't for like saying what I felt. Like I felt like I did a good job representing what I was trying to say. But it was really disturbing to me because I know that he's not like a bad guy. Like I know that nobody that I was talking to is a bad person. I know that they're not, racist. I know that they're not like, actually both of them have immigrant families. Like I know that they're not people who are like, I hate those dirty migrants. They're all get all the Browns out of the country and kill them all. I know that's not where they come from. I know some people do come from that and they support this kind of thing, but I know that these people are also young people, and I know that they are just, preconditioned into these conservative reactionary ideas, and I know that their parents probably watch Fox News and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to be there to brainwash them into becoming a communist or whatever the fuck. But I'm there to be like, I want to be there for these people and other not other immigrants, other like conservative reactionary people that I have in my life, like our other friend, Noah, and I just want to be there as a friend, to sometimes check the ideas that I think are inherently harmful and just talk about them with them. And I also really enjoy to hear those other perspectives. And so, but in this case, I was talking about Obrego Garcia and the Trump administration deporting him to an El Salvador prison camp without due process. And I was fucking flabbergasted that he was defending this action. And I was fucking losing my mind a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't think it was coming off as if I was like angry, but I was really fucking like, this guy is really defending this right now. Like, he thinks that the guy that we sent there is a terrorist. And we were going back and forth on the specific details of the case. Oh, I was going to talk about, I remember what I was going to say. Okay. It was about the wife beating stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that was something that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't really get into that very much, but actually, let me bring that up real quick. So it's come out that Obrego Garcia's wife had filed, I think it was a civil case against him, or at least like started to, because he was like aggressive. And I believe she's come out and said that don't quote me exactly on this, but I believe she came out and said more or less that she had bad experiences in previous relationships and was sort of jumped the gun a little bit and was worried that could be something that was going to happen in this one. And she did not go through with it in the end. So it was something that she did. But then she said afterwards they worked it out and nothing like that has happened again, and it's not been a problem.
Yeah.
So it's not, but of course Fox News and even I would say liberal mainstream media was running with this narrative.
Yeah, I saw that, like the only I guess left-leaning one that I saw like run with that or like say that publicly was like CBS, I think.
Yeah, I mean I saw a few different people. It's not like they weren't like not, but the headline just was like Obrego Garcia beats his wife. It was like, it was like maybe in the article they went a little bit more in depth into the details, but in the way that they presented it on Instagram and on the headlines, it was like, it just looked like they were saying that Obrego Garcia is a violent person, which maybe that's true. We don't really know at the end of the day because we don't have fucking due process to prove that he is.
Yeah.
And that's important. Even if he is a wife beater, even if he is a terrorist, even if he is an MS-13 gang member, he deserves a due process to prove that he is, because we cannot label him as that and that be the proof of him being that. That's not how that works. Like, it's like fucking, something that bugs me is like these right-wing people who are like, they're trying to prosecute me and cancel me for my free speech and shit.
I only said the N-word a couple times.
I only said the N-word hard R.
What's wrong with that? It's free
multiple
speech.
Employees and like sexually assaulted someone, and they're like fucking, the woke mob is after me, and it's like they're acting like we just go and you did something we don't politically agree with, so you should just be locked up, and that's what they're fucking doing, like to a degree. I mean, like I don't know. What I'm trying to say is, if Donald Trump, for example. This is something I wish I had said to my friend who voted for Donald Trump actually in the argument, but I didn't. Was Donald Trump, for example, is a felon.
Yeah, he's a 34 count felon.
I think he was convicted on 34.
Yeah, that's like the first president in this.
I want to say there was 90 charges or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's
a bunch of charges, paying for sex with a porn star, stuff like that. There's, holding on to government documents and refusing to give them back, inciting the January 6th insurrection, all of these different things. There's plenty more. Donald Trump, okay? Let's say that there's a conservative watching this. Donald Trump deserves a due process to prove whether or not he's done those things. And so does everybody else in the world. That should be the end of the story. Donald Trump is using the Alien Enemies Act to evade this due process for hundreds of human beings. Yeah. And Donald Trump deserves that due process as well, and he received that due process, and then he was determined to be guilty on a lot of those things, and then he went to the presidency, and now he doesn't get charged for any of those things. That's besides the point. But Donald Trump deserves a due process, so does everyone else. Anyways, I was talking to these people about it, and I don't know, I was just kind of blowing my mind that they had things to argue against evading someone's due process. And I was like, look, we can argue about the specific details, whether or not he beat his wife, whether or not he is technically an MS-13 member. Yeah. And I was also explaining to him how I believe the judge before everything had specifically declared that they could not deport Abreu Garcia to El Salvador because he was fleeing El Salvador from MS-13 gang violence. So it's like he was not an MS-13 gang member.
Yeah, he was fleeing from it.
Fleeing from it.
Yeah.
And he was specifically not supposed to go to El Salvador because it would have put his life in danger.
Yeah.
He was fleeing there from gang violence. So anyways, I was just explaining to them all that, and they were sort of like giving me screenshots of different articles explaining certain things, and it was just not really disproving anything that I was saying, but I was like, look, I don't really care about the specifics. The bottom line is we scooped this guy up without due process, and that's fucking bad.
Yeah, like
And-
that one university student that got picked up in the streets.
Which one?
Oh gosh,
Because there's Mahmoud Khalil.
it was like
there's actually like a lot of
it was like a girl. I don't even. It was from like a week or two ago.
the one that got there was a guy in the window filming, and you could see
Yeah,
masked
yeah,
guys
yeah.
come up to her.
Yeah, apparently I saw something on Instagram this morning. They still don't even know where she's at.
It's fucking crazy.
Like it's like she's just somewhere in the
That's
country.
a whole other thing that we'll definitely talk about as
Yeah.
well. But because there was another pro-Palestinian, or actually there was he described himself as a literal peacemaker. He was going to his immigration, I think it was like an exam or test.
Yeah.
And-
Oh yeah,
and they
his
scooped him up.
to get his citizenship, and they got him there.
And they screwed, and he did an interview beforehand because he said
Yeah.
he thought it might be a trap, and it was, and they
Yeah.
scooped him up, and he's in prison now, or in a detention center or whatever. And so we'll definitely talk more about that as well. But
Yeah.
anyways, the bottom line with that argument was just like I was starting to lose my faith because I was like, I know that these people are not sitting here telling me that we should evade due process of every single person. They just don't fundamentally understand what I'm trying to say. And
Yeah.
that was really like, it was concerning to me that I couldn't really get through to them at this point because the Fox News propaganda had already gotten to them.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of scary to me. But then, one of them sent a voice message of their friend, different guy, not in the group.
Oh,
And that
that's
was
right.
fucking insane.
Yeah, I
losing-
remember you showing me that.
I was losing my fucking mind at this, dude. It was genuinely hurt my head so much.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
basically, this guy sent a little voice message. He's like, so you're being a little softy. You just, he said something about Obama and dumbass liberals or something like that. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't fucking care. I don't.
It's funny how all these Republicans are like, dude, I saw this thing where Trump has mentioned Joe Biden's name like 1,000 times already. Like,
That's
honestly, it kind of makes a little sense of mentioning it like on your inauguration speech.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, mention them, mostly negative.
But I will say, to be fair, and this is not saying that this is a good thing, the Democrats, a lot of times, I mean, obviously right now we have to continually talk about Trump
Yeah.
because he's doing crazy shit all the time. But in the election, that was kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
It was like- it
that's
was like,
true.
hey,
Well, no,
Kamala
I'm
Harris-
saying like after the election, and then like still to
It's-
this
yeah.
day.
But it is, when you ask Kamala
It's like
Harris in the lead up,
Biden.
when you ask Kamala Harris in the lead up to the election, what is your agenda? She would go, well, Trump wants to do this.
Yeah,
That's bad.
that's fair.
And then it's like, okay, what are you going to
Yeah.
do? Well, Trump wants to do It's like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
what are you doing?
He's like, my mom's a small business. I'm a small
Yeah.
business.
But
Small
instead-
business.
But what Joe Biden does, yeah, right, exactly. But what what Donald Trump does is he just goes, Biden fucked everything up, so
Yeah.
we're gonna do some radical right wing crazy.
We're gonna fuck it up even more.
So we're gonna go into fascism because that's the only thing we can do to
Yeah.
fix this problem. We're gonna do something that really fucks it up a whole lot worse than Biden could have ever imagined.
Yeah, for real.
But anyways, this guy sent a voice message, and it was him basically calling like liberal softy, like you don't fucking know what the hell you're talking about. He's like if you actually Googled it or whatever, you would know what He said something about how you wouldn't want to if someone raped your girlfriend. This is what he said. If someone raped your
Oh
girlfriend,
yeah.
you wouldn't want them to go to some nice flowery prison. You want them to go to a dark, torturous prison. And I'm like, dude, okay, first of all, we might have just fundamental disagreements on like what causes crime and how we should like reform people that
Yeah.
have crime, because it sounds like this guy's all for like, hey, you did something bad one time when you were like in high school, let's send you to a fucking maximum security prison for the rest of your life and get you the fuck out of the streets. Like, no, we need to have better prison systems that aren't just like stricter prisons does not fix the problem. Locking people up does not fix the problem. It just disappears it for a little bit, and then you fucking release it back on the street, and now they got a criminal record, they can't get
Yeah.
a job, and now they're even more fucked over. Now they're even more likely to go into even more crime. So that's besides the point. I could tell that that's where this guy's
Yeah.
coming from, though. And I was like, I'm not saying necessarily that rape crimes apply to the same way that I'm saying. I don't know, but what I'm trying to say is that he said this, and he was like, you want us to do a deep, dark, fucked up place to face a punishment for that. And I was like, yeah, but the thing is, we don't know if these guys are rapist murderers unless they have a due process. And then his response, I kid you not, was, okay, yeah, that's a good point. I'll look into it and make a response. Never responded. What the fuck?
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to look into that, so I'm just, he's a rapist murderer to me.
Yeah. Like my personal truth says that
Yeah.
he's a rapist murderer, and I'm gonna just write him off as that forever.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this is fucking ridiculous. We need to have people need to have a due process.
It's like that's like what Republicans are like. He's a rapist, immigrant, trans person. That's what
Yeah.
he is. That's what he always will be to me.
Yeah,
No changing it for me.
yeah, get him out of here now. I don't know. Abrego Garcia's situation is really
Yeah.
crazy. And when Senator was it Van Hollen?
Yeah.
Senator Van Hollen went to meet with Abrego Garcia in El Salvador.
Oh yeah.
It took him a little bit. He had to do some
Dude,
negotiations.
It was crazy. The day that he went there, he got rejected, and then a Republican went there, and he got accepted. And he was like
Dude, and what's her name went there too. I fucking
Kristi Noem.
maybe I don't know.
Who?
All of the fucking people. I'm sorry, this might sound racist. Not racist, but all of the white women in Trump's vicinity fucking blend together. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Kristi Noem, the other one,
Press secretary.
press secretary.
Yeah.
I don't know any of their names. They all fucking blend together to me.
Yeah, they're all blonde.
all the
white.
same.
they're all blonde white women.
No, but I don't know. They're all fucking like crazy people, and they all occupy this one little tiny part of my brain. And every time I see them, I just go, "It's one of those three." I don't know their
It's
names.
one of those like.
I don't know which one it is.
It's one of the Three Stooges.
Yeah, what exactly. But but anyways, one of his blonde white women in his vicinity went to the El Salvador prison system and was like, "Look at them, they're so nasty." You see that?
It might have been
She did
Kristi
like a
Noem.
photo op in front of them.
It probably was Kristi Noem, the
it was.
Homeland. She like the Justice Department.
I don't
person.
fucking know. One of those.
She's one of those white women in Trump's cabinet.
Not saying that we shouldn't have white women in the thing. I'm just saying that all three of these women are crazy, not because they're women, unrelated from their gender. They just all happen to be white blonde women, and they mix together in my brain. Is all I'm saying. Okay,
It's funny that you recognize that. You're like
it's not because they're women. I'm just saying that
they're women, but they're not. That it doesn't
it
correlate.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I think women should have power. But anyways, I
Oh
wanted to say also that speaking of women and gender,
Yeah.
I had another conversation with someone else about transgender people.
Oh yeah.
You were there for this one, and it was interesting.
shit.
It was really interesting to me, and I think I wanted to break it down and sort of
Yeah.
talk about what was said and sort of how crazy.
Yeah.
So let me set the stage a little bit. This is a person who my mom is friends with and has been friends with for decades and decades at this point. This person describes themselves as a hippie. Okay? This is someone who is very, very liberal, blue, whatever you want to call it, left. I think they would probably say on most issues they're farther than the left to the Democrats. But I don't know. Because we talked about a lot of political things throughout the time that she was here.
Yeah.
We talked about, the Abrego Garcia stuff, a bunch of different Trump things. And every single time you bring up Trump, she would get fucking pissed off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's like an old liberal white woman, okay? I don't have a problem with white women. It feels like I feel like I'm demonizing white women right
Dakota
now.
hates white women.
I don't hate white
he
women.
hates all.
I love white women. I love white women. No, but
They're my favorite type of woman.
I shouldn't have even brought up the fact that she was a woman. She's an older liberal person, and white as well. I think that's worth noting. I don't know. Anyways, mostly would vote blue. Probably saw Kamala Harris and was like, I love Kamala Harris and everything she does about. And anyways, just super anti-Trump, right?
Yeah.
And then she brought it up too. Was the thing. So
Oh, dude, she was like
we were
kind
talking
of.
about
she was,
something. I don't even. Yeah, she's also a little. drunk. She was also drunk, which is worth noting.
Yeah.
But we were talking about something. It wasn't even at all related, and all of the sudden she dropped. What's crazy is the fact that in some areas there are our tax dollars are going to are going to give people Medicaid to get transgender hormone replacement therapy and
Bottom
surgery.
surgery.
And I was like, what? Dude, okay, when she first said that, I was like nervous as shit. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Did she just say what I think she did? I was like, my heart was starting to pound a little bit. I was like, how do I, I was getting angry. I was like, what the fuck is she saying right now?
Yeah.
The thing to me is like, and I'll talk about more of what she said, but I was just like, she is liberal left on everything else except trans people, and it was so weird to me. But anyways, she said that, and I first misunderstood what she was saying.
Yeah.
But I was like, that is a very small population of people.
She's like, I know, but I hate it.
I was like, what? Like, I was just trying to talk to her about that, and then she kind of brought up, what was her second point? We were talking about that, and she was like, well, I know a bunch of them, and I'm like, yeah, but like, what I'm trying to say is that this is a very. I wish I had said like, there is a 1% of the population in America is trans. And of that 1%, like, because she was also talking about how, like, you know, your brain's not fully mentally developed until 25 years old, and I was like, great, so you would like it if people waited until their brain is fully developed to make a decision altering their body. I understand that perspective, but I also wish I had said this, like, detransitioning is a thing too. If someone makes a decision before their brain is developed, which I don't think really has anything to do with having gender dysphoria, but if you make a decision at, let's say, 19 years old, and then you go, actually, at 25 years old, I've decided that's not right for me, you can get surgery to change it. It's not cheap, and I'm not saying it's an easy process by any means, but it is something that is possible to do. There's many people out there who detransitioned. Some of them have become right-wing transphobic freaks, but some of them are just normal people that just decided, you know, this is didn't work for me. But anyways, and I just tried to explain to them, I didn't really know how much I wanted to get into this particularly with them, because I didn't think I was going to be able to change their mind on kids becoming trans, but I was like, well, the Trump administration is, you know, actively making it so you can't even start getting hormone replacement therapy until you're 19 years old in a lot of places now because of the Trump administration, which is insane, because if you don't like the idea of surgeries and stuff too, like, this is so stupid to me, is if you don't want people to get like transgender bottom surgery like 15 years old, that's not happening. Like, that's not just something that's happening. Like,
don't they go to like counseling and stuff like that?
It's a years long process.
It takes a while.
I was trying to explain to her, I'm like, it's not like a 15-year-old without parental permission just walks into a transgender clinic and is like, I'm trans, and the doctor's like, all right, sit down. All right, you got a penis now, walk out the door and have fun. It's like, no, this is like, your parents have to be there with you in most, pretty much every case as far as I'm aware. They have to sign off on this, especially when you're a minor. And then you have a multi-year long process of therapies and hormone replacement therapies. This isn't just something you just go in, you get surgery, and you leave. It's like, you sit down. This is a multi-year long process. It's very expensive. This is not something you just go, oh, I saw like a TikTok of someone who is trans and made me want to become trans. And now I'm trans all of a sudden, and now I'm just there. It's like, no. You probably, most likely what happens is you start identifying as trans, and then through that process you decide that is what's right for you. You start, you know, changing the way you dress and things like that. Maybe eventually you go to like the actual clinic and get hormone replacement therapy. And if you do that actually under 18, if you do it before puberty, you actually can, instead of having to change, because say you went through puberty as a male and you develop into a male, then you have to go through and undo all of that. But if you actually have the ability to have puberty blockers and hormone replacement therapy before your puberty, then you can develop into the proper sex that's right for you. So it's like, if people don't like surgeries, then you should actually allow children to have transgender access to like puberty blockers and stuff beforehand. Like, obviously not everyone's going to know that they're transgender before puberty, and there's obviously a process still, but I'm just saying it's like a smoother process where you can maybe pass a little bit more because you're able to develop into that through puberty into the right sex. But anyways, I just say all that to say that what she was saying was very just
not right,
seemingly insanely close-minded, and I was just fucking blown away by that.
And then she's like, it's not proper English.
That was the thing.
It's not proper English.
Really pissing me off, dude. So she was just talking about how she didn't really, it sounded like she just generally didn't understand and didn't like trans people. But she knows multiple of them. And I was like, okay. But then she said, that part where she was basically arguing that it's not proper English to call one person they, them.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I was like, what the hell are we talking about right now?
It's like, because English evolves over time, because we don't talk how someone talked in the 1700s. We
don't talk like Shakespeare anymore.
Yeah, we don't talk
because language develops.
Yeah, we don't talk like anyone in the 19th century.
Yeah.
Or anything like
Words
that.
change. The
People
definition
change.
that they have, the way that we use words change a lot. Language changes, you know. It's just something that happens, and it's really ridiculous to draw the line there. but it's the thing that was really stupid to me too was like, why is it not proper English? I don't understand why it's not proper
Yeah.
English, because if, like I said this to her, I was like, if you have a dog that you're meeting for the first time, you can't tell what gender it is, you can't tell if it's a he or a she. What you do is you go, oh, what's their name? You're talking about one entity, one being,
Yeah.
and you're saying, what's their name? What's their name? And if you're using a gender neutral pronoun in that situation because you don't know the gender of the dog. So if someone identifies as neither he or she, then you just give them a gender neutral pronoun as one person. It doesn't make it, like, I don't understand. Even if it wasn't proper English, it's like, why do you care? At the end of the day, it's like, why the fuck do you even care?
I said one thing. I was just like, just let people do what they want. And
Yeah.
she I think she literally said like, no.
Yeah,
Or something like that. I'm like, okay, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. But when she said all that stuff, I was just really, it was weird to me. I was like also
Yeah.
trying to explain that, like, gender is a spectrum. It's not so binary. And I think that's something that she would agree with. If I really broke it down with her, which I wish I had more time to do that, because like gender is a spectrum of a thing. Like, I'm not the most masculine person ever, but
Yeah.
some people are more masculine, some people are more feminine. I'm probably more feminine than, my dad or something. Like it doesn't really matter. It's not such a binary thing where it's like you are either male, you're big and muscular and you got hair on your chest, or you're a woman and you're none of those things and you're the full opposite of that person. It's
Yeah.
like it's a spectrum of things, and
Yeah.
sometimes people aren't either one of those binary things that we prescribe culturally, and it's just stupid. It's just stupid. At the end of the day, it's like, just fucking let people do what they want and stay out of their business. And I also said to her, like, I think at the end of the day, if you restrict people, doctors being able to make decisions with their patients in regards to abortion, in regards to transgender operations, like, there's no reason to do that. It's just going to lead to things not being able to be done that need to be done. And at the end of the day, also, this is something I wish I had said to her too. I don't care if my tax dollars are going to transgender surgery, transgender replacement therapy.
At least
I
they're
don't
not
care.
going to Israel.
To me, yeah, exactly. I mean, I would rather my money go to that than Israel. And at the end, I mean, look at this. Look at this. So, gender dysphoria is a medical condition that people suffer from. And if my tax dollars are going to fund someone helping themselves fix this, or, to treat someone's gender dysphoria, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
It's a medical condition that should be treated. And if Medicaid is, my tax dollars are going to fund Medicaid for someone getting treatment for that condition, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care. Why do you care? I don't understand. Probably none of them are going to that. Probably 90% more of it are going to Israel, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not.
And the military industrial complex.
Yeah. I saw that.
Actually, it's going to the military industrial complex because they're the ones that give Israel like all the weapon transfers and stuff. So you them to like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing,
Yeah, hell yeah, all the goats.
the goats.
I saw this actually graphic that I saved. It was showing like what the average tax dollar paid to certain.
Oh yeah. Wait. I think
So this is from Now This Impact. I saved this. So the average taxpayer contributed $98 for deportations, detentions, and border control. It's $26 for refugee assistance. This is just comparing two different things that you spent money on that you'd probably want to spend on this, but instead it's going to this.
Yeah.
So the average taxpayer contributed $3,707 to weapons and war, and they only contributed $1,803 for Medicaid.
It's funny how it's like, like deportations and then like refugee assistance. It's always like the one that you most rather contribute to is like less.
The average taxpayer contributed $5.82 for SpaceX contracts, and only contributed 1 penny for International Council of Homelessness, Interagency Council on Homelessness. So we spent, significantly more on SpaceX contracts. The average taxpayer contributed $1,430 for Pentagon contractors and $610 for troops. Okay. The average taxpayer contributed $3,452.73 for interest on the national debt, and the average taxpayer contributed, in comparison to that, $445 for food stamps, like SNAP.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stuff, and then there's all these other ones as well, which it just lines up. It's disappointing. But
Yeah.
anyways, that was my. Oh wait, here before we get too far away, there's just some of the pictures of
Oh,
the
jeez.
CCOT prison in El Salvador.
Was that from Now This or?
This is from I don't even know, but these pictures were everywhere.
Yeah.
Everyone was reporting on this. This is a picture of the CCOT prison where Abreu Garcia has been sent and hundreds of other immigrants without due process. This is fucking Nazi shit. Like this is
Oh yeah, for sure.
this is a concentration camp. This is what I mean. If this isn't a concentration camp, then what is a concentration camp? And it's funny. I saw this Onion article. It was like
Yeah.
signs of a good functioning society when people are arguing over what the exact definition of a concentration
Oh
camp
yeah,
is.
I saw that.
It's like when you have to argue whether or not something is technically a concentration camp, it's like it's a fucking concentration camp.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
argue about
Oh,
that.
yeah, no,
That should
for
not be
sure.
the discussion.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get into your nerd shit.
Oh yeah. Here, can I have the mouse so I can like scroll through it and stuff?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna like. I'm gonna scroll through this on like a. I don't know what order I'm gonna do. I say.
By the way, the scrolling is inverted from what you're used to
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
because it's
yeah.
Apple.
Okay, so let's.
And
see
Apple does
here.
stuff different.
Yeah, Apple's the best.
We're quirky over here at Apple.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna go off the point. Oh shit, sorry.
Okay.
I'm gonna go off the points right now
Mhm.
and just read off these, and then oh shit, I think I'm just gonna like once we get down to these two,
Okay.
I'll just click on them since I didn't put anything on here for that.
Sounds
But
good.
let's get in some fun stuff, guys. Some
Writer's economic breakdown.
fun stuff. Yeah, my economic breakdown. Man, it's been a while since I've done a economic segment.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did used to have a.
That was I
segment.
did that like the most boring way possible. But today's gonna be even the same.
Today's gonna be even more
Get
boring.
ready, grab your drink and popcorn.
Yeah. Get ready for
Okay.
the segment.
So the U.S. economy dives just 3 months into Trump's term.
Is that an article that you have?
Yeah, actually, wait. Let's launch this too because this is also good. Okay.
This is the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, Wall Street Journal. Oh wait, is it gonna let me view all of it? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay,
Good. So we got some graphs here. We got some good graphics here.
Whoa.
So pretty much like what this was talking about was like it surveyed a bunch of economists that they talked to, major economists and like just like forums and stuff, and they were pretty much talking about like their confidence in the economy right now with Trump's second term coming in hot.
We're all really confident.
Not really. I'll after I'm done like reading, after we're done talking about these points, I'll like go into it because they actually had some surveys with like economist responses and all that, so we can
Cool.
do that last. So the key points here: economists have slashed growth estimates while raising inflation and unemployment since Trump took office. So
Oh yeah.
pretty much
Wait, so numbers are up.
what? Wait.
Employment's up, right?
No. Like employment is down. Unemployment. So unemployment is up and inflation is up.
Hell yeah. So
And-
numbers are up.
Yeah, numbers
Sounds
are up,
fucking
man.
great.
Yeah.
Number go up, me happy. That's
Yeah.
what I say.
And then, oh gosh. So also another big thing, economists, they increased their chance of a recession for the next 12 months. So pretty much this year, it could happen. It's almost up to it's up to 45%. I've also saw like something like a headline on Instagram a while ago that JP Morgan upped it to 60% in March, I think,
Yeah.
which we survived that month. So
Now.
yeah. So, and then also, yeah, economists see. So let's see. So we did that. That's also 45%. That's also up from 20. So that's about 22% ish.
From January. Wow.
Yeah, from January. Also, GDP growth is expected to be 1.06% in Q4 of this year, down from 2% in January.
Wow.
Economists see Trump's levies, which is like tariffs, subtracting 1.2% from the 2025 GDP growth and adding 1.1% of inflation. So pretty much we're probably going to see 3% inflation reading this year sometime.
Ooh.
So get ready for 3% inflation. It's at the lowest level now, 2.8%. It's probably going to start going back up because the last two economic readings that we got from the Fed and just like unemployment data in general. Well, we saw some of Elon Musk and Donald Trump's unemployment because it read out all the layoffs. Like layoffs were fucking spiked way up.
Mm.
Like I think to COVID levels. of
God dang.
layoffs because of Elon Musk just like recklessly going through the government and laying people off. You guys love that, right?
Everyone loves that.
Yeah, but yeah. So that, and then
Did you want to look at the article or?
oh yeah. Thanks for reminding me. So so this is like a survey of economists. So it says like when the journal last surveyed economists from January 10th to the 14th, they were unsure about the many aspects of Trump's policies, including tariffs, immigration restrictions, and tax cuts, but they had to weigh in uncertainty.
Sorry,
Yeah.
this is kind of unrelated, but it's worth mentioning that I think since the last time we filmed the podcast, in the House, was it in the House where the SAVE Act passed?
Oh yeah, the SAVE Act passed through the House. I haven't heard about it since then, really, but
It's going to go to the Senate, and hopefully Chuck Schumer is not going to be like, we're going to let it pass because it's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Basically, it is a pretty bad
dude,
situation.
they could do the what did that one Israel Democrat do?
The filibuster?
Yeah, they could literally filibuster it.
Yeah, maybe Cory
They
Booker
could.
should come back out and be like, and filibuster this time.
Yeah,
Actually
instead
filibuster
of-
like a law.
Yeah. So
The fact that he spoke for 27 hours and didn't mention Israel a single time is kind of crazy, by the way.
yeah.
Anyways.
Oh, here's the probability of the U.S. recession, like graph from. So this is, let's see,
Oh, that was in 2008,
2008,
9.
and today it's right here. Today
Damn.
it's 5% off of 50%,
Interesting.
and then let's see, we got should be some more graph. Yeah. So consumer price index year over year. Where's the April 2025? It's fucking down.
Yeah, it's down.
It's down. Like the October 2025 is this like the lightest blue line.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty much about how it was in October, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then there should be there's no more graphs. Okay. So that one now. Okay, let's talk about the bond market.
Hell yeah.
This is going to be fun, actually.
This is going to be so fun.
yeah, so
Strap in.
so the bond market. I learned some things about the bond market. So people were
What
freaking
the hell
out.
is the bond market?
The bond market is pretty much treasury bills that the United States like lets you buy, and then they'll repay you after a while. So
What the hell does that mean? So wait, isn't it it's a government thing
yeah,
where the government sort of sells you their debt?
yeah, they sell you your debt and they give you a rate.
They sell you the government's debt,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the government's debt,
And is
and
there national and then like state ones also?
I think there's state ones. I'm not sure about that, but there's definitely federal bonds that you can buy. Yeah, it's pretty much you purchasing the government's debt,
And then they pay you a percentage.
Yeah,
on
they
it.
pay you like it's usually a pretty high yield, like 4%, I think.
And so why do they pay you I know you're not here to explain bonds necessarily.
Yeah.
but why do they pay you a percent how are you filling their debt if they're going to end up paying you more than you're paying them? Isn't that just debt that they're getting, but short term they get money?
Yes, yeah. So I think it's mostly for the short term, so they can raise money
Gotcha.
to pay off some
bonds are
part.
supposed to be very
yeah,
slow and growing.
Yeah,
very
slow.
consistent.
very they're supposed to be
They're supposed to be
safe.
consistent.
Yeah, especially
And they're
this
also
10
supposed
year.
to not be super high yield. If they're super
No,
high yield,
oh yeah, I
then that
was about to
means-
get into that.
If they're super high yield, that means that something is unstable and they're not
Yeah.
as secure as they once were.
So bonds, this is from ABC News. Oh yeah, wait, let me go back to the podcast topics. So yeah, so the bond market did help Trump trigger his pause on the tariffs, the 90-day pause. That feels like fucking forever ago, by the way. When
does.
because I got this like I guess 2 weeks ago, just about.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, that helped. The bond market helped because he has to keep an eye on that. If he lets the bond market surge too high, I mean, we could collapse on
Yeah.
ourselves. Like, it's not good.
And so
at all.
when Trump, also we haven't done a podcast since Trump revoked his tariffs, but
Yeah.
Trump had a bunch of shitty, fucking crazy tariffs. We talked about last week, very
Yeah.
in depth, or not last week, a couple weeks ago, very in depth, and
Yeah.
then the VIX index shot the hell
Oh yeah,
up.
the VIX,
volatility.
Yeah, the
index.
volatility. Dude, the volatility index. I need to still finish this video, but Hassan interviewed this. I think he's more of like a leftist, like economist
yeah.
kind of guy.
Nathan Tankus.
Yeah, Ethan Tinkus. Yeah,
Nathan.
yeah. Oh,
Goat. He's cool.
yeah, he's cool.
I watched that one.
But he pretty much was saying like if the volatility index went up, like I think he wasn't very much from where it was up, where it was really high up. If that would have went up, Wall Street firms would have collapsed in on itself. Like it would have been, firms would have shut down. And yeah,
But so once the tariffs were up, the stock market shot the hell down. Everyone was freaking out. The volatility index was shooting up. The bond market yields were shooting up. Everything was unstable and volatile and crazy and bad. And then Trump announced that he was revoking those, I guess partially due to the bond market.
Yeah, the bond market helped his decision like a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think that was mostly why
everything
he did
else also contributed. But it's worth saying, I don't know if you have anything about this, but since they've revoked the tariffs on almost everywhere and kept baseline 10% tariffs, Trump has now been threatening 245% tariffs on China.
Really?
So, yeah. At least that was most recently what I saw.
Wait, hold on. I saw something like recently, like I think a couple hours ago, where a reporter was like, are you gonna play hardball in China? He's like, I'm not gonna play hardball in China. I love President Xi. I love him very much. I think it might even say like, that's why the stock market's also doing so well. He's not firing Powell. We can talk about that in a minute.
Is he just like, he's like, today is the day of forgiveness. He's like, I forgive everybody. I actually love
Like,
President
for real,
Xi.
though.
I love Zelensky and I love Jerome
He'll
Powell.
never say Zelensky. He'll never say
I
that.
love Zelensky.
But so also like, it's so fucking confusing.
It is.
just
That's
like,
the whole thing. Is it's making everyone confused, and the stock market is going up sometimes. Actually, right after he revoked the tariffs, we had the best day since 2008.
Yeah.
And then it shot back down.
Yeah.
And then now it's just up, down, up, down, up, down. It's like this headline goes
Yeah.
down. This headline goes up. This
Yeah.
headline goes down. And so it's like it's too much. It's too much to keep track of.
Yeah, that's like, and it's just
Which is very bad for the national economy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
International, really.
But so this is like, so that helped him. The 10-year Treasury bond surged more than a percentage point, which is its bigly weakest gain since 2021, which is when people were still reacting pretty negatively to COVID and global supply chains were kind of iffy, and so that so it actually does affect everyday people like me and you, everyone that we know. They can drive up interest rates for mortgages, credit cards, and just drive up borrowing money in general for like consumers like us.
Gotcha.
And
so what, I don't know if you know, but what about, so if everything is volatile and why are they upping yields? Why does that?
So they up yields. That means that it's like, it's more unsecure. Like it's not really a guarantee
because they
might not be able to repay you. And if they don't repay you, then they can't repay the debt. And then, it's just like, there's concerns about like, I mean, like I said, even here, like, even like a spike in a bond, like a spike too high in the bond market, it could just make the U.S. financial system like collapse.
Gotcha.
Out here, I want to show a list here. I feel like an old man like trying to navigate this thing from this far away. Also, the U.S. dollar is getting weaker. We can move to that, and then after that, we'll go to that. So the U.S. dollar, as I was researching this, it was against every other currency, it was slipping by 8% this year so far, which is the worst decline in the dollar in 4 decades.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's not. So there's some theories about this that I actually want to talk about real quick about the U.S. dollar in general. This is kind of like get your grandpa in here. Okay. This is his segment. But anyways, like, so people were talking about like Trump's trying to lower the U.S. dollar. So people will come back here and manufacture because if the U.S. dollar is cheaper, companies will come here theoretically and set up shop. And, his like dream of that's like kind of not really reality, but it could be if he did the right steps of like people manufacturing, the United States being a manufacturing hub again.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's a theory, but I don't think Trump's thinking like that, honestly.
I don't think that's the case, because if he cared, he would have kept the tariffs.
Yeah.
That's something that I think is super stupid is with the whole tariff thing is if he cared about restoring manufacturing in America, he would not have immediately revoked the tariffs, because now 10% baseline tariffs are not going to bring back any manufacturing. No. It's just going to be inflationary. That's all 10% tariffs do.
Dude, I literally saw this one thing, actually, like multiple things of like U.S. Steel is literally laying off like 150 to 200 workers because of the unpredictability of the Trump admin. Like pretty much, and then also a Volvo plant in Southwest Virginia is laying off like 200 workers or something like that because
Wow.
Trump's, unpredictability,
Yeah.
global supply chain stuff like that is just expensive.
Yeah.
And freight stuff. And also, if the dollar declines, global consequences for trade.
Because we
and
are
finance.
the reserve currency of the world.
Yeah,
most trade happens through us.
Yeah,
is my
so
understanding of
yeah.
that.
So if the dollar declines, people will switch over like euros, like the European Union countries and just Europe in general. They'll start doing like that's already happened actually with Brazil and China.
Yeah.
They're skipping over us and they're just doing trade and what's the Chinese currency? I don't know, Brazilian and Chinese currency now. So yeah, and then if like it also has questions about like if it does damage to the American economy too much. Like the Trump trade policy is just like it's not good. There's no thought really behind it.
It seems like
A
it.
lot of people
There's
are
some
starting
theories,
to realize it.
but the messaging is so inconsistent and
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense really with the
But yeah,
strategy.
that's all this. Now let's talk about the student loan stuff
Okay, yeah.
because the government's going to be garnishing your wages if you have any student loan debt by May. Let's see. Let's look here. This is the first time that they're doing this since 2020. No student loans have been collected since then.
Wow.
Some people have been paying, but not a lot of people, obviously, because it's just like,
Yeah.
Let's see. So the Education Department said Monday it'll be restarting the involuntary repayment of federal student loans that are in default, which I think like it's probably in here somewhere. But I saw somewhere where like 60% of student loan borrowers are in default, like they just can't pay.
I mean, they've got crazy debt.
Yeah, they have like $100,000. Like, luckily, my mom, she got hers. She did it through the Biden program. The Biden bedroom bathroom.
Oh, where like he forces you to be trans and a migrant.
Yeah,
and then he
for like
forgives your
10
student
years or
loan debts.
something. Yeah, and he forgives them. Yeah,
Is it-
no, I think it was like the requirement was you work at a nonprofit, which he did for like 10 years.
You're trans.
Yeah, and you're
black,
trans, and you're black, and you're
gay.
and all that
and
other
you're an
stuff.
illegal immigrant
Yeah,
who is also a murderer.
yeah,
And then you get no student loans forgiven.
yeah. So, but yeah, she did that. She applied for it. All of it got erased.
That's awesome. My mom's did not, and they're sending her stuff now for the first time in a
Yeah.
really long time. Actually, she has not had to pay them. And
Yeah.
now they're like, "Hey, you got to pay him." And she's like, "Oh shit, I don't really have the money for all that."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Student loans, crazy.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So beginning May 5th, the department will begin involuntary collection through the Treasury Department Offset Program, which withholds payments from the government, including tax refunds, federal salaries, and other benefits. Yeah. They apparently, if you're a federal employee, you have student loan debt, they're just gonna take out of your pension and put it towards your student loans. I'm like,
Bruh.
what the fuck? And then from people with past due debts to the government, the department said in a statement. It'll be wage garnishes will follow a 30-day warning. It added so it'll send you a letter or something in the mail 30 days before. An estimated of 5.3 million borrowers are in default on their federal student loans.
Gosh.
The department said that the number could reach 10 million in a few months. Repayment will be administered by the Treasury Department, and affected borrowers will get notices in the next 2 weeks. Said in a statement. The department said in a statement.
I mean, I understand like I don't know, something that I don't even know how to say this. I remember when I was in Tennessee and I was with some of my family there. One of them said, out of nowhere, we weren't even talking about politics or anything at all related to this. I think he must have just been watching Fox News when we came in or something. So we came over to his house, and then the first thing he said was, "I'm totally against forgiving student loans." But they know what they were getting into the whole time. I'm just sitting there like, what the hell is? Where did he get that from? And also, what?
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How can you be against forgiving student loans?
Yeah.
How can I? This is the thing: is we don't have people that are, I think, properly like messaging things that we need to be done like this. But like the fact that there are people out there who, if you go to them and you say, "Hey, I want to give you free healthcare and forgive all your student loan debts," they would go, "No, hell no." Hell no, that's woke.
They're just brainwashed.
It's
They're
like,
literally.
what do you mean?
They're like Fox News brainwashed.
I want to make your life materially better.
I don't want it. I want to work my
Yay.
ass off and never retire and die.
That's
Die in the
BS
mines.
shit. What the hell are you
Die
talking
in the
about?
mines.
It's like, bro, what are you saying?
Yeah, but so this the president of student. Oh shit. Fuck. Oh yeah, that's right. It's inverted.
I think we get the point. We can.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much like they're gonna start involuntary collecting. Oh, I feel like I saw
Great.
something like, what did I see? Here, you can have the mouse back. Shit, I forgot what I saw, but I saw something. You gotta believe me.
Sure, man. Okay, I want to also talk about, before we wrap up, I want to
Yeah.
talk about
Hey, we've been doing good, dude.
RFK Jr.
Oh yeah, dude, he's been fucking popping off
The
like
man, the myth, the legend.
brain broken.
His brainworm has been spewing some shit.
It's been busy lately.
Yeah.
It's like finally I have a national platform to say crazy
We
shit.
talk about, hey, Gerald. I like to think that he names his brainworm Gerald. Hey,
Yeah.
Gerald, we can finally spread misinformation about autism.
Yeah.
He has been fucking
Dude,
saying
he's like,
crazy shit.
dude, the autism registry thing? Like, what the hell is that?
Wait, what is that? What is that?
Okay, so he literally said, just look up, I mean, this is going to be weird, but just look up RFK is going to literally, like, I don't know if he's going to make people do it, but he's going to come up with an autism registry.
Yeah, so I just looked up RFK autism. This first thing came up. RFK Jr.'s autism study to amass medical records of many Americans. So
Like, that's illegal under HIPAA.
You don't know what his entire idea is. I think most people
To
probably
be like,
do.
we need to locate every autism person and put them in a camp.
I mean, dude,
that's what it
they
sounds like.
Might as well fucking put numbers on their fucking heads at this point. Like,
Yeah.
you might as well fucking number them, dude. It's fucking crazy. So here's the thing: RFK Jr. notoriously is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say this.
He's an idiot.
RFK Jr. is using his national fucking platform and
Yeah.
has used his platform that he's had up to this point to say that
Yeah.
vaccines are linked to causing autism. He
Yeah.
also said in a meeting, like a press meeting or whatever with Trump administration, he said, we're going to figure out what causes autism by September. How? That's not how that works.
Yeah.
You can't be like, yeah, this thing that like scientists have been just studying for like so long at this point, and you know, we don't necessarily have exact causes of, but we kind of understand that it can be hereditary, and we understand things about it, and you can't just be like, yeah, we're gonna figure it out by September. We're gonna know. We're gonna put a hard deadline on it, and we're gonna figure it out.
crazy. Like, and also, it's just, and then like so many people with autism came out on social media
Yeah.
where they're like, yeah, this guy's just fucking stupid and
Okay.
wrong.
Also,
Like,
let me find this clip because RFK Jr. Had this speech where he was talking about the autism epidemic and how tragic it was because the CDC.
they're like, some people can't poop or do
He
what I
basically
don't
said
know.
they can't pay taxes. They can't. I was like, that was the first thing he said, and I was like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
And then I saw someone like post a screenshot of Elon Musk's tweet where he was like, I paid $11 billion in taxes this year, and it's like, okay, RFK Jr.'s never met Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Because the people with autism pay taxes.
Yeah.
No, but RFK Jr. He had this little speech where I believe it was after the CDC had a paper that said that, you know, environmental factors are probably not the causes of autism. Things like vaccines, things like you know, food, artificial sweeteners, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Probably not linked to causing autism. What RFK Jr.'s response to this was to basically denounce it and say it's an autism epidemic and the people with autism. Okay, let me find this clip. RFK Jr. I look up RFK Jr. It says confirmation, voice, food dyes, wife, age, vote, banning food dyes, brainworm.
Nice. Dude, speaking of like banning like food dyes or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like food, like kind of topical. I saw this thing where like the CDC or the NIH or whoever controls food safety, they're banning like safety checks for a bunch of stuff like milk, cheese, I think.
Yeah, they
Meats
also
and all
brought
that.
back PFAS, which is forever chemicals. And I was like, what the hell? Like
Hell
the
yeah,
Trump
brother.
administration rolled back a ban on PFAS.
We need
And I'm
to do that.
Dude, what happened to Maha? Like the good stuff that Maha even does present, other than like the crazy vaccine shit, like sometimes they actually have some good stuff. They're like, hey, we need to get like, you know, artificial sweeteners and bad food dyes and stuff out of our food supply. That stuff is good. We need to do that stuff, but not to fix autism, more so to fix cancer. If anything,
Cancer's fake.
we need to honestly like if RFK Jr.'s entire focus was on, you know, stopping possible carcinogens from being in our foods and all of these chemicals that we don't really even know the effects of yet, being in our foods, that's good. But he's instead using like Red 40 causes autism. It's like, we don't think that's the case. That's not true.
Yeah.
Like, when we start having these different foods, he's like, well, when we started having, food dyes and vaccines, all of a sudden autism shot up, so it must be correlated. That's not correlation does not equal causation. That's just that's a fucking baseline scientific idea. And the reason that autism rates have gone up is not because we started giving people vaccines and eating red food dye. It's because we understand that autism is a broader spectrum, and so it's easier to identify that someone has autism who we would have just thought is a person who has a slight hyperfocus on this thing, maybe 20, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
For example, let's say, there's a guy who, let's say Elon Musk, actually.
Oh, he's
Let's use Elon Musk as an example. If 100 years ago, we would have looked at Elon Musk and been like, well, he's just super business focused. He's just super, okay, maybe he's not the right example because I don't want to sound like I'm being ableist. Let's go with someone else. Let's just make up a guy. Okay, this guy he loves trains. He loves everything about trains.
I was gonna say something about that. Actually,
he's not very socially, there. He doesn't really talk to people, but he's kind of closed off and he's in his own space and he talks about trains all the time. He knows
like a whole room dedicated.
He has like a train set. He knows everything about trains, but that's like just his weird hyper focus. People 100 years ago would have just gone, oh, that's Billy. He just likes trains. He's not very social. Now we know that he has a non-extreme case of autism, probably. And I'm not completely saying that everyone who likes trains has autism, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You get the idea. Now we know that guy has autism, not just the person who has like severe autism. So we know that there's a broader spectrum, which leads to an increase in cases. It doesn't necessarily mean it's an epidemic.
Yeah.
And that's actually another thing that the lady that I argued about trans people with said a couple days ago. She was like, I was talking about RFK, and she seemed to be kind of pro RFK because she was like, yeah, well, it seems like we are having an increase in that. And I'm like, well, because we know about the spectrum. And then she's like, well, no, but it seems like even extreme cases are going up. I'm like, are they? How do you have any evidence for that? Like, I don't know anything about that. But anyways, this is RFK Jr.'s.
He's like the guy with the brainworm told me.
Yeah. I think this is what I was talking about. RFK Jr.'s comments on autism have sparked outrage. NPR's that part. So, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. calls the rising rates of autism diagnosis an epidemic, and last week he pledged new research looking into environmental factors that he believes lead to autism. Many researchers are challenging the scope of the focus to the new initiatives, and many people living with autism are condemning these remarks. So he said, these kids who will never pay taxes, they'll never hold a job, they'll never play baseball, they'll never write a poem. And so this is a quote from, or this is like it's like a transcript of like a coverage. Let's see if just get back to the quote.
Yeah. Oh.
They talked for a long time. I want just let the quote.
That's it.
Well, okay, that was. He also says like, they'll never use the bathroom unassisted. They'll never go out on a date. They'll never do all of these different things. And it's like, some people won't be able to do those things. There are people who have extreme cases of autism, and there's also something that's worth saying. I was watching the Majority Report yesterday, and they had someone on who's a more expert on this kind of stuff, and they had mentioned how autism is something that also usually overlaps with people having other, disorders. So it's not that people who are those extremes, it's not all autism. A lot of times it's other disorders also coming into play. But in this case, he is just applying and assuming and guessing that every case of autism, because we're seeing an increase in autism because we have this broader spectrum, he's just implying that all of them are extreme and they're all never going to pay taxes and stuff, and it's fucking ridiculous. And bringing up taxes is kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of a gross point to bring up.
Yeah.
They'll never pay taxes, and that's a tragedy. That's the real tragedy.
They won't send any money to military contractors.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They'll never serve in the army. They'll never kill Palestinians. They'll never be the head of the health department. During Wednesday's press conference, Kennedy stressed that the HHS would investigate environmental toxin he believes are causing rates of autism spectrum disorder, contradicting what the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, believes is contributing to the increased prevalence of the condition. While more research is needed, there's been no discussion about actually serving this community to be better supported, including to have service that reflect the diversity across the spectrum. The CDC published a report earlier this week that found 1 in 31 children in the United States were diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder in 2022, continuing a trend of rising prevalence from the previous years. The report noted that the increasing rate was likely linked to improved diagnostic methods that have become more widely available. But Kennedy expressed skepticism that improved diagnostics are the reason for the
So
rise.
let's just get rid of all that. You
So
know,
basically-
let's just stop testing.
That's ridiculous. Like, he
Yeah.
just like said, well, the CDC said something that I didn't like, and it's false because it's false. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. We just need to stop testing. That's
Telling
it.
reporters that it has to be environmental and there is no genetic link to the condition. That is fucking crazy that he said that. That is insane. He said one of the things that I think we need to move away from today is the ideology that autism prevents prevalence increases. This is what RFK said. So let me fix the voice. The ideology that the autism prevalence increases, the relentless increases, are simply artifacts of better diagnoses, better recognition, or changing diagnostic criteria. This is a preventable disease. We don't know that.
Yeah.
That is not something that we know for sure. We know it's an environmental exposure. No, we don't. We actually think that it's the opposite based on everything that we have that
Yeah.
proves it. What the fuck are we talking about here? Give us some sort of evidence to prove that it's not as environmental. What are we talking
he's
about?
like, believe the guy who has a brainworm and ran over
Yeah,
a
rather than the
bear.
fucking CDC that released a report and every other fucking
Oh,
like
shit.
expert in the field except for like the one anti-vaxxer fucking crazy person. Like, what the hell are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Ah.
It's also crazy because this is the same guy that has a brain worm in his head. Literally admitted that he did cocaine in college,
He did a lot of heroin too,
heroin.
I
He
remember-
ran over a bear with a bike in Central Park.
and then planted it like no.
Oh, wait, was it a van?
I think he killed a bear or he found a dead bear and then planted it in Central Park like a bike hit it. He also when he was on a vacation with his daughter and his family,
Yeah.
he on a
Oh,
beach,
yeah,
he
he, like-
saw a beached whale and he sliced it up with a chainsaw and put its head on top of the car and drove away with it.
Oh shit, dude!
Crazy
Imagine
guy,
being
crazy
his
guy.
like kid.
He also likes like raw milk and all that shit.
Yeah.
Thinks like fluoride in the water is giving us smoothing on our brains, all that stuff.
Yeah, dude, I love my brain smoothed out.
He said, genes do not cause epidemics. It can provide a vulnerability. You need an environmental toxin. Research suggests that autism spectrum disorder stems from a combination of genetic factors and environmental influences. Autism researcher and clinical Doreen, or clinician, I think is how you say it, Doreen Samuelson, said that over 100 genes have been identified as being associated with autism spectrum disorder. I think the term epidemic implies a single identified cause, but I don't think that autism works that way. It's complex, lifelong condition, and since we have moved to kind of a spectrum, we are really viewing a very broad population with a lot of diversity within the population. Roth added that the Trump administration's cuts to the Department of Education and HHS and proposed cuts to Medicaid are in direct opposition to Kennedy's claim that he wants to support the autism community and find out more about the conclusion. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we are cutting. They're cutting Medicaid. I think actually this article shows it. The recent House passed. This is what we were talking about earlier. This
Yeah.
the House recently passed the budget resolution. Meanwhile, proposes cutting to up to $800 billion more from Medicaid over the next 10 years, and also extending the Trump 2017 tax cuts.
Yeah. That'll add
Making
like
them permanent.
that'll add like a couple $1 trillion to the deficit.
Yeah, and if we're cutting Medicaid, like this is fucking stupid. This is stupid in and we're dismantling Department of Education. We're taking away DEI programs, which part of that is to help people with physical and mental.
Yeah.
Like it's part of it is to provide things for disabled people. That's part of the whole thing. And it is just crazy to see that we have a guy in the Trump administration who is just blatantly lying about autism to fit his fucking thing that he wants to say.
Yeah.
How vaccines are causing it basically is his bottom line.
It's an epidemic.
He's just getting with no fucking empirical evidence to say something, saying that that's what we're gonna do, and then meanwhile the Trump administration is like, even the good stuff that he does have, where he's like, hey, we should support the autism community and we should do this, we should get red food dyes out of stuff, we should get PFAS out of stuff. The Trump administration is behind this, literally doing the exact opposite of all of that stuff. It's like, this is crazy. Anyways, that's my rant about RFK.
Yeah, RFK is quite a character.
He is quite a character. I swear we're living in a fucking sitcom, but what are you gonna do? What are you fucking?
What are you gonna do?
Oh, and JD Vance killed the Pope.
Oh yeah, he did that.
We can
too.
just leave it at that. We can just say JD Vance.
JD Bondon.
He went to the Vatican and he killed the Pope. He fucked the Pope's couch, and the Pope
Killed him.
saw it and was like, oh, and died. So thanks for
Go
watching.
backwards. Yep. Thank you guys for watching.
Allegedly. All right. See you guys
See ya.
next time.